is Sister Joanne, and she's a former teacher and principal at Rosary. And today we're here to learn more about how Rosary came to be. So what can you tell me, Sister?
Well, when Rosary first started, we were LA Diocese, not Orange Diocese. And the Cardinal asked us to staff the school that they were going to build, knowing that there was a need for a girls' high school in the area. So at the time, we had Rosary High School in San Diego. And in fact, the first principal was teaching down there at the time, and she became principal here at Rosary, Sister Lillian. And a little known fact is that the land that Rosary was built on was an ostrich farm. And we started at St. Juliana's, which was called St. Mary's Annex. And they took the auditorium, divided it into two sections. Oh, wow. And we had 2 classrooms. And the janitor's closet was the principal's office. Oh, and then the following year, they had 65 girls that attended it at that time. And that was in 1965. And then they moved to portable classrooms on the field. And then I came to teach the first year that we opened this building. Oh. And that was in 1968, September. Wow. And the very first day of school, we had a flood. So all of the faculty were downstairs, ankle deep into water, pushing the water out so that it would be ready for the girls. And the day before school started, we checked the lockers to make sure they were clean and realized that black widows had made their homes in them. So the sisters were frantically and busily cleaning out black widow spiders for the girls to have safe lockers. Maybe you'd like to know, at the time the tuition was $15 a month.
Oh my goodness.
And $30 for the student fees for the year. So times have really changed.
In the beginning, were all the faculty sisters?
Many of them. We had probably more sisters than lay faculty.
Wow.
So there were about 9 sisters that were here.
So you started off with 65 students, and then it just grew and grew from there.
It doubled for the second year and then kept going as we added classes.
That's amazing. Yeah. What were the first years like? What was the spirit of the school? What were the girls like?
Well, one of the students would say, when she was asked, well, you don't have a school, and she says, oh yes, we have a school, we just don't have a building. Aww. So the spirit was really there. And in October of that first year, they had Rosary Day, and it was very simple. There was Mass, and then the girls came over and started digging the ground for the new school.
Oh my gosh!
And then, so every girl had a shovelful out of this foundation.
That is such a cool story. I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they went back for cookies and punch. So now you can see what the difference is with Rosary Day from that time.
What would you say, how would you define what it means to be a royal?
Oh, I would say that person would have the spirit of really the Sisters of St. Joseph. It's a spirit where we are very concerned about reaching out to the neighbor, a spirit that is accepting of each person, a spirit that gives what they can give and become the best person that they can become.
What's your favorite memory from your times at Rosary?
Oh, I had so many. I probably would have to think about that one, because there's so many that are flooding me right now.
Well, I know one thing the girls would probably like to hear about. How did Red and Gold start?
The first Red and Gold was approximately 8 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
And there was Mrs. Ovando that started Rosary, the Red and Gold. And we had it here at school, on the lawn. There were many times that we would do like pyramids of people, and there were different sports activities and everything. And we knew after the first year we had to cut it down.
Yeah.
But we had again, the two teams and talent and writing scripts and everything. But it was really the girls' production. And that has stayed, and it's been a wonderful experience. I look forward to that. Almost every year I've gone.
Oh, nice.
So that's great.
And the sophomores are getting ready for their retreat, and they're going to go back to the Motherhouse and learn about their call in life, and they're going to learn more about the Sisters of St. Joseph. What would you like them to know about the Sisters of St. Joseph?
I guess I would like them to know that we had really a fun time teaching here with wonderful memories. And I think the reason that I entered in, I'm from Rosary in San Diego, the sisters always had a good time with us. And I think that developed into a community faculty here, that the girls and the faculty and all of us had, we had fun together, but there was also a deeper relationship that was going on at the same time. And really that love of each other, the love of God, and our eyes open to the world. What are the needs out there? How, if we developed our talent and our skills to the best that we could, what could we give to the dear neighbor?
Thank you so much. What was it like to have the sisters as your teachers?
I loved having the sisters here. I think mainly because they're just like people, but they were not just my teachers, but they were my coaches too, because some of the sisters, we had one, head coach, and she got pregnant, so the Sister Joanna Anarinos, Sister Pat, they were my volleyball coaches, and they were always at my game. They just really cared about me as a whole person, not just a student. I love just having them here.
What's one of your favorite memories of the sisters?
I loved choir with Sister Pat Tierney, but I think I loved having the sisters out there as coaches. That was kind of interesting. Not too many, see a nun and heels and skirts, and they came out and while we played volleyball and taught us. Sister Pat taught us how to serve overhand and things like that. So I loved that in particular. And then when the nuns did little skits for us to illustrate events, that was a lot of fun too.
And what's one value you learned from them?
Generosity, hospitality. Sister Joanna Anarino in particular would walk the halls. She was my principal. She'd walk the halls down on the sidewalk where you guys sit, and she'd give hugs to people constantly and hold them and talk to them. A lot of one-on-one attention. And I learned how important that was to me. And so most alums, we give a lot of attention to our students because that's what we absorb from the sisters that were here.
Tabor hired me, and I came in 1984 in August, be quiet, 1984 in August, and I wasn't going to stay at Rosary, I wasn't going to be here until I met Joanne Tabor. That's true. Really, really nice lady, and I was blown away because I thought all sisters in all orders, everywhere, wore veils and long dresses, etc., etc. Because they were an important part of the faculty. We used to go on any faculty retreats to the Motherhouse, which at that time was in Alto. We used to walk across the road to Alto, and they would have a great feast for us, and various other sisters who'd been CSJs at Rosary would join us, like Sister Joanna Marino and Sister Kat Miller.
My first years, we had our retreats in their living room.
Yes, we did.
It was very nice. And we'd have mass. And we'd have mass, not in their chapel. Their chapel was being redone, but we'd have mass in their living room, I think it was called. It was very wonderful. You'd sit around in these chairs by the fireplace, and very, very personal.
That's what I remember about them. You see, I'm being an Anglican. I got this different opinion that, of nuns, as I say, completing habits, etc. And when I came here, they weren't like that at all. They were very outgoing. They served the people. So I was able to get a completely different viewpoint of their charism. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so cool.
But the story I will tell you is about just before I started at Rosary, which was then towards the end of August. My brother was missing on August the 4th. And they finally found his body 2 weeks later, just before I was ready to start. Well, Sister Joanne Tabor called me and asked if I was still coming, and I said yes, but we've had this family crisis, I told her. So they said a funeral mass for my brother down at the Motherhouse, and they sent my mother a card, which must be in my mother's effect somewhere, because she kept it until she died. And that was very meaningful. They reached out right across the sea to people that they would never meet.
Oh my gosh.
That's my great memory of that. My mother coming from a Catholic family, it did mean a lot to her that they had this funeral mass.
That's cool. Thank you. I'm here with Mrs. Wynn, and tell me about your memories of the sisters here.
We had one sister that was still present, and she was a teacher during my senior year. I believe her name is Sister Marianne Wepper, and she taught morality. And so she wasn't dressed in a habit, but you just knew she was a sister. She had a long skirt, and she had like a cardigan, very comfortable shoes, and short hair. So, but she was just like anyone else. I mean, any other teacher. She had a good personality, and I enjoyed her class. But I do remember asking her, because I used to read like old medieval fiction or something, and so I knew about sanctuary. Like someone could plead for sanctuary and go to the nunnery, but what do you call it, monastery, or what do you call it?
Yeah.
But so I would read these stories, these women in trouble that would go and hide from their problems and go and live with sisters. And so I had a cousin who had a lot of issues. And so I asked her, I go, I have a cousin, I think she has mental issues, but she has a lot of pressure, and I think she's in a hospital for a little bit. I don't know, she has a lot of anxiety. Can she hide out?
Hide out at the Motherhouse.
At the Motherhouse. And Sister Mary was like, well, we don't really take people who have mental issues. So I was all offended for my cousin. But it was a ridiculous question to ask, but she was really patient. And she goes, well, maybe your cousin could seek help in other ways, but no, she cannot hide in the Motherhouse with us from her mom. But no, it was and so I see her every once in a while, and she does remember me, and I remember her. So I always have a smile for her, because she was a pleasant part of my senior year.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Sister Joanne, and she's going to tell us about the early days at Rosary.
Well, I came to Rosary in its third year, and it was the first year in the building, so there was a lot of excitement. The first year, the first class only met at St. Juliana's in the latter part of the building. The next year, they had a bunch of trailers, and the kids liked the trailers. But one day, the news was the building was opening, so the whole day was spent moving the chairs and doing everything like that. The spirit was sky high, and it remained that way for years and years and years. So when I look at the crest and I think about 1965, all I can think about is excitement. And at that time we had a different school motto than there is now. It's probably terrible to say this, but it was, we're wonderful 1 times 1, forever was never till now. And we had a song, and one of the lines I loved the best was, at Rosary High we've got joy inside. And I think that the feeling of the sisters from our own history is that charity and joy and service to the neighbor, the dear neighbor, those are our hallmarks. So when I thought that the kids at this school, because we were the administrators, had joy inside, I said, we accomplished something. So coming back here after 40 some years and knowing that there's still joy here really makes me happy.
Cool. Do you have any fun stories from your times here?
Oh, there are a lot of fun stories. One time we had a candy sale, and in order, the big prize was a slumber party in the assembly hall if you sold X amount. Well, there were kids who didn't sell that amount, but they didn't know if we were going to have some fun. They wanted to, so they crashed the party. And one person who still comes around here was throwing water balloons at people, including me.
Oh my goodness.
So she was down on the lawn, and I was upstairs, and I thought, I'm going to get her, and I'm just going to douse her. Now, I'm a bit older than she is, but I say, the heck with it. So I ran as fast as I could. In those days, I could run a little bit. And I caught her by flying at her.
Oh my goodness.
Not really catching her. And I got her ankles, and she laid on the grass, and she said, oh, God, I've been caught by a nun.
Oh my gosh.
And every time I see her now, and I do see her because she still lives in the area, she does some work at St. Mary's, she'll always say, I can't believe I was caught by a nun.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
That was one of the greatest nights we ever had. That was so much fun. And I coached the sports then too, so I knew all the kids. So that, to me, the whole deal is about relationships. If you can have good relationships, nothing else matters. So cultivate that in your life, and always be careful to serve the dear neighbor.
Nice, thank you.